Hello, it says we're live, so I guess we're good to go now. Hey, Chevy Fish, thanks for coming. I appreciate you coming out to hang out with us in the first episode of Just One More Fish, the live stream. My name is Josh, and today I thought we'll make it real simple. We'll go over a few different things. Since I know this is the first live stream, probably won't have a lot of comments, a lot of people popping in. So I thought I would just go over things that I've done, where I came from in the hobby, why I do what I do in the hobby, and what my goals are for the hobby. Just kind of an introduction to who I am. Hello, Zen Ginger. Good to have you here. Good to see some names that I recognize from other chats. That's really awesome to see. So first of all, my name is Josh, and you guys have probably seen me in a couple of the other chats, especially on Dan's Fish. It's one of my favorite ones I listen to every Wednesday night when I'm at work. Love that show. And basically, I started doing this, I would say 8-9 years ago. And I had a tank many years ago, did not do a good job of taking care of it. I was gone a lot on the road. And the family was like, that's it, no more. We're not taking care of it. So flash forward several years, about 8-9 years ago, I put a tank in my office at work, and I fell in love with the hobby again. And it turned into 2, 3, 4 tanks in my office at work. The family started to like those tanks, and they started coming home. And as of a month and a half ago, or before that last video came out, I had 28 tanks at work. It kind of got a little bit crazy there for a while. And then I also had 4 here at the house. So what ended up happening, and the reason that we had to build that room in 45 days, is we found out that the company we were with was going to be shutting down. And my wife and I took the company over, but we had to get everything out as quick as possible. So this entire room that you see behind me was not here 2 months ago. We literally had to clean out the garage and build the entire room. So that's kind of where we're at. That's where we're sitting. I do want to ask real quick, is the video doing okay? This is the test video. Can everybody see okay? Does the sound, the audio coming through okay? We'll wait and see if we get some answers on that. I don't want to get too deep into discussion and then find out nobody can hear me. That would be brutal. Chevy says I'm addicted. That is absolutely true. The game plan for this room, by the way, is sounds great. Video's great. Thank you, Chevy. I appreciate that. Game plan for this is this wall over here is completed. This is hard to do on camera, apparently. I may add 3 more tanks here eventually. The wall directly behind me holds 30 tins. I just have this little section up here to fill in. And then the wall next to me here, that's going to hold 18 30-gallon tanks. And then directly behind me, 2 rows. And those will be all longs. Hopefully I can get them in 4 high. I have to do the math on that. Hello, Tamar. That's my beautiful wife, Tamar. My nephew, Bradley, in the room. Fantastic. I'm glad to hear it's going well. Bradley is the one that I just sent a message to as my my tech guy. I know he listens to music the same way I do, likes his videos crystal clear. So I sent him a message and said, can you get on and see if this sounds okay? So I'm glad that it's working out. Perfect. All righty. So been in this hobby, started again about 8-9 years ago. Very sturdy floor. Yes, it's concrete. This is a garage. And yeah, the floor isn't going anywhere, Chevy. So yeah, started 8-9 years ago and really just kind of fell in love with the fish. I started out with African cichlids. When I started out with the African cichlids, it didn't seem like they were that easy to find. I mean, you could find a few at your pet store, you know, the PetSmart, Petco. They had a couple of tanks of them, and they were real small. You couldn't tell what they were. They were coming in as mixed. And so I got into that and decided a couple years ago I really wanted to expand this. And my goal was to expand into African cichlids. But at that time, if you look around, everybody has African cichlids. Hey, 44, good to see you here. Fantastic. I enjoyed being on that chat with you guys the other night. That was a blast. And I would not be doing this if you guys didn't let me in that chat. So being able to see that this actually works, that was fantastic. But what I was saying is everybody had them now. In fact, I can go to 15 people within 30 miles of me that have rooms full of African cichlids. Everybody's got them. So I started thinking about things I could do that were different. I have one African cichlid I will keep, and those are my sulfur heads. They are not absolutely true sulfur heads. I've actually mixed those myself, and we'll discuss that in a later channel or a later live stream as to why I did that. And I know people don't always love the view about doing that, the hybridization, but it's something I decided I wanted to try. So I did that with this tank over here, and we'll talk about that maybe next week. Let's see. Sounds great. Video's good. That's awesome. I was really stressed about that because a lot of the shows I watch, it seems like they have issues with sound and video, especially like K&G Tropicals. I know Dan had a lot of issues at first with echoes, so I really expected this to be a mess up front. Let me go ahead and turn down the volume here so that we don't get a whole lot of that. All righty. So yeah, I decided I'm going to try something a little different right now. I have a tank over here that's got some of the CARES program fish. I plan on doing a live stream about the CARES program and discussing that a little bit. Maybe I'll show some of those fish later. Behind me, it's going to be all shrimp and different guppies. I plan on bringing in a lot of high-end guppies. Around here, it seems like everyone has fancy guppies, and they're willing to throw platinum on them and platinum cobras and all kinds of crazy names, and really a lot of them look the same to me. So some of the ones I'm going to bring in are pretty extravagant. There's one in particular that I am dying to get, and it is the green Hulk guppy. I have never seen that much green in a guppy. I've seen the green cobra, which is basically a yellow cobra with a little green in it. These things are literally green. It's insane. And so that's something I'm planning on working with. And then this wall over here, I plan on doing a lot of killifish with. Haven't decided all the species I'm going to get into. And in fact, part of the reason that I'm doing the videos now and the room's not finished is I kind of want to build this with the audience. So I want to hear your ideas on what we should put in the room. If you guys think of something that's kind of neat that you haven't seen anyone do before, it's something I would be interested in. I'd be happy to throw it in here. I should have close to 100 tanks when all is said and done. So the goal that I have for this, I know there's a lot of places out there that sell fish. They import them. Dan's Fish is fantastic for that. They import the fish and they take their time. They get them healthy and then they send them out. What I'd like to do is actually breed the fish here. I'm not doing this to make a lot of money. Breeding fish is not going to, produce a lot of money. You have to wait till they grow out and they're ready to go. But my goal is that the new hobbyist maybe won't be so intimidated whenever they see something that their mind's blown. They're like, this is amazing. I need to have this fish. And they have no idea how to keep it, or the water conditions aren't something that fish is used to. So I'm thinking that my goal is going to be to breed these different fish, the killifish and different types of guppies, and make them available to the beginners, and make it so that it's a sustainable hobby for them, so that they're not spending so much time fighting with issues, and I can help them online getting their tank set up or whatever they need. And then we will go ahead and get them some amazing fish to start. It gets kind of frustrating when you go into the fish store and you see the same thing everywhere. Everyone's got the tiger barbs and the danios and the plain guppies. I want to have something that's a little more special. The things that people see pictures of and they're like, that's amazing, I need that. But then they go to the store and they end up with angelfish. So that's kind of the goal that I have, and to try to help increase the hobby, try to get a lot more young people involved in it. My wife and I have actually talked about if I ever get a bigger location, having it set up where schools can do trips through the location, and we'll teach kids how to take care of the fish. Then they can go home and beg their parents for a tank, come back and buy fish from us. That would be fantastic. All righty. So that's kind of where we are. Let me see. I've got a few comments here. Looks like you guys are talking to each other a lot. That's awesome. Video's good. Auctions and swaps are a great place to get healthy fish, plants, and supplies at good bargains. Yes, Chevy, actually, we are having next weekend the huge Maasai swap, which is in St. Louis. I can't remember. They have over 500 different lots that they're selling. And I definitely plan on hitting that. I'm going to see what I can find. I'd really like to get into my first killifish, looking for the Fundula Panchex Gardner Eye. That one is kind of like the one I want to start with after I've done the research. That's the one I'd really like to get into. Let's see. Goodeids are a great endangered fish. Exactly. In fact, if I can do this without making everyone sick, I'll just flip this over here. And now you can see some of the goodies I carry. And these are the red tail split fins. I can never pronounce the name properly. And that's where you'll have a difference between me and some of these other fish groups. I don't expect to be able to say the scientific names of a lot of these. Those are something along of Zenotica, I don't remember, Deodroy or something like that. But yeah, they're fantastic. I love them. Actually, I had a really nice fella from Seattle who offered to send them to me for the price of shipping. And he sent them. I got 8 of them, 4 pairs. And I think that there's probably about 30 or 40 of them in this tank right now. So I'm getting ready to split them out into different tanks. And once I get them split out, I've got another fellow who lives a couple towns over. He has the exact same thing. We're going to switch and try to strengthen up the bloodlines a little bit. Let's see. Chevy picked up a pair of Mahacanes betas for $4 at an auction. Okay. I have not done a lot with betas. I will have to look into that and see what that is. That's one fish I've had a couple, and I'll tell you the only reason I've had betas is because I've walked into Walmart and I've seen them half dead on a shelf, and then I go up to the manager and I tell him, this fish is going to die. You can let me take it and I can give it a chance at life, or it's going to stay here and die. I've had a few times where they've written those fish off and send me out the door. I would never pay for those fish, because then you're just kind of breeding the thought that, hey, these things are selling, even if they're close to death, I'm making money out of them. So they continue to order. So I've picked up a few that way, been able to nurse them back to health. One's actually in my daughter's room right now. It's a beautiful crown tail. But I don't know a whole lot about, especially the wild type betas. I wouldn't mind getting into those a little bit. I do have somebody that lives about 15, 20 miles from here. She's breeding betas and actually might become part of my website at some point, which is not up yet. Once the website's up, we'll discuss that some more and see about maybe adding some of her fish there. Let's see, Zen Ginger, we finally won something from Dan's Fish. I saw that. That was fantastic. Java Moss. Hey, you won. I saw that and I was like, do I enter or do I not enter? I have loads of Java Moss. In fact, this tank right here that is 25 feet behind me is absolutely full of Java Moss. And my tank is making a weird noise over here. All right. So yeah, I have several tanks that are just loaded with Java Moss. When I saw that's what he was giving away, I was like, oh man, that's a bummer. But yeah, I was glad to see you guys were able to win. I was hoping maybe you'd talk him into putting some fish in the box with it. See if he can send those for you. I cannot get this to load. Sorry. Oh, bummer, Fish Room Fever. I was kind of hoping to have you in here. That's interesting. Don just says, Josh. Hi, Donnie. How you doing? Turn Wi-Fi off. A peaceful wild beta which can live together. Well, that's kind of cool, because everything I've dealt with betas, you really can't keep them together. And I'm not even smart enough to know if it's beta or beta. So we're just going to call it a beta because that's what I've always called it. But being able to keep those together, that would be really awesome. And once I have this system set up better to where I can actually bring things up on the screen while I'm talking to you, I will start searching this stuff out to see exactly what we can do with maybe showing that off to other people as well. Fish Room Fever, not my signals in. I just left a stream and tried 4 other streams, no issues. YouTube problem. All right. Well, that's a bummer, Fish Room. I wish you could get in here because I really appreciate your show the other night. So Fish Room Fever has a Thursday night at like a ridiculous time. It's like 1 a.m. or something like that. And he opens it up and has several people come in, and it was a blast. I was working an all-night shift, and they kept me going until 4 a.m. Actually, I gave up before they did. When I got home, they were still online last week. Let's see. 23rd time is a charm. Hey, so he did make it in. Fantastic. Hey, Fish Room, I appreciate you introducing me to, now I can't remember his name, Chappie. I think that's who it was, Chappie. He did a great job helping me out, gave me some information on how to get this up and running. And I appreciate the encouragement you guys gave. because when I was talking to you guys, I didn't know if I was ready for this or not. And you're like, just get on there and do it. Decide if you even like to do this. And so here we are. So we are live and deciding if I like this or not. Whether I like it or not, this is something I've really wanted to do for a long time. I want to be able to help out the community as much as possible, especially the new ones in the hobby. That would really be fantastic if we can get them set up properly for a change. That seems like the stores aren't doing that. So the more information out there, the better chance they have. All righty. Zen Ginger, Dan's in the middle of a blizzard, or I probably would have asked about buying some of his turquoise guppies. Yes, I want the turquoise guppies myself, Zen. Those are fantastic looking guppies. And as soon as I could put an order in, I told him I was going to put a big order in January, and the room's not ready yet. I just now put in these 3 tanks. They don't even have water in them yet. Everything back there is pretty much full. So the big order's coming, Dan. If you see this, I'm going to buy fish from you. I just have to get the tanks finished up first. Let's see. Yeah, and Dan is always in a blizzard. For those of you who don't know, Dan is from the Great North, and seems like every time he comes on, it's snowing or they're just in the break of a snowstorm, and it will come back within the next hour or two. Donnie, that's why you need a wingman, Josh, a tech guy, a bored dude. Yeah. Unfortunately, the room's not very big for a wing guy. This is it. Not a whole lot of space in here. And I don't even have a board. I mean, I do. I DJ on the weekends. I have a board out there, but I'm not using it for this. Fish room, we are gluttons for punishment. Glad to see you streaming. Fantastic. Yeah. I was really impressed with how late you guys went, because Fish room has a fever with, I believe it was Chattanooga Ed. If I'm absolutely wrong, please let me know, Fish room fever. And they went for an hour and a half or so. And I was like, okay, who are they going to lead into? And then next thing I know, it's them again. But then there's like 4 or 5 other people in the room, and it was pretty cool to see. And they did a really good job. A lot of times when you get 4 or 5 people in a room, it's really hard to keep the conversation going with people talking over each other. But they were pretty respectful of each other, and were able to get some conversations completed in there. Chappie, good tech dude. Yeah, Chappie's the one that Fish Room Fever hooked me up with, and he was really, really fantastic. Answered questions for me. I think someone forgot the thumbs up. Oh, thank you, Fish Room. I don't know if I didn't even look if I had likes. Oh, they're up there. See, I'm still learning how this works. So 7 likes and 9 people here. So yeah, I got 2 more people that can hit them. That's fantastic. Yeah, well, it could be me because I'm not made for small spaces. I don't have a low volume setting. Yes, Donnie, you don't have a low volume setting. In fact, if in any of my videos you hear me yell, I know, Donnie, that's because Donnie's a buddy of mine. He lives pretty close to me here. And every now and then I like to just make fun of him even when he's not here and just yell something at him on video. Let's see. Yes, it was Chattanooga Ed, it looks like. Leave or give a like. Well, I'm not going to go that far, Alice. Thank you. I appreciate that, but I'm not going to kick people out for not liking. In fact, I'm shocked that I have 9 people here. 10 people, new record. First stream, I have 10 people. I was expecting maybe 3, and I thought they would be family and friends. So 10 people is fantastic. That means there's people that I don't really know that are here. Storm Riders is here. I haven't met him before. Let's see here. Fish and Fever, everybody's saying hi. I do love how the fish family, the community, all gets together. They all talk to each other. Yes, Alice, you're joking. That's awesome. Oh, man. So how do you guys do this for an hour and a half and not run out of stuff to talk about? I am almost 20 minutes in, and I've gone through what I have to say. So if you guys have any questions for me about the fish room, that's kind of where I'm going to focus today. We could talk about anything you want with plans for the fish room, or how I do my water changes, or if you have ideas for the fish room that maybe I haven't thought of. Absolutely, I would love to hear those, because this is my first fish room, like my first legit fish room. Now, technically, my office at work was, because I had the 17 in my office and then a few others outside, but it wasn't set up as a fish room. Tanks just kept appearing. I don't know who kept bringing them. I don't know who was putting fish in them, but they ended up in my office. Chevy says we are family, fish family. Yes. I do agree with that. How many tanks do you have? So right now in this room, when this section is finished up here, that will be 30 on that wall, 12 on this wall, and then this wall over here will have another 18. And I haven't done the math on the middle, but there will be 2 rows down the middle right here, which is why I have the airline there. And right now there's a 55 gallon sitting down there on the floor, but that's going to have all 20 longs whenever I get to that point. But I've got 18 tanks to install on this wall. Then I have a 300 gallon plywood tank over here that I need to get into my house to make room for more tanks. Let's see. That chat moves pretty quick when you guys get going. Let's see. Fish Room Fever says you're correct. We do 2 hours and usually open a second stream. Yeah, that was impressive to me. I've seen a couple of different people do those where they open the stream and it's just chaos. In fact, I actually learned some things on that stream which just blew my mind. I thought you get 6 guys in a room and I ask a question. I didn't think I'd ever get an answer, but you guys did a really good job of filling me in that night. I appreciate it. That's why they pull other people up. Our family and friends here. Yes, I have a few. My wife was in here. She may have gotten bored with me and left already, which wouldn't surprise me. I bore her pretty quickly, I think. Donnie's a good friend of mine. Bradley was in here. He's my nephew. Other than that, everyone else is just from the fish family. And I consider all of you friends at this point. 44 Mad Guy says fish and more. What rack system are you using? The one that's behind me is the one that Dan showed in a video, and I'm going to have a video on that later. He built that in his fish room where he actually notched out the uprights and then put the actual stand together that way. It's all interlocking and linked, and it's worked really good. I mean, I've had 30 tanks on there with water, and the thing is sturdy as can be. This system over here, I stole from Aquarium Co-op. It's the system they use in their store. The only difference is the tanks they had in their store were much bigger than the ones I have here. These are just standard 20s, so I didn't use monster bolts to hold the system together. The screws I used were rated for 50 pounds a piece. I used 4 to 6 screws in each section, depending on how many tanks it's going to support. That should hold 3 times what I have going in there. The side over here that's going to have the 29s, 18 of those will be the same as this. And in the middle, I haven't decided how I'm going to do that yet. I'm really liking this system, though. I like that there's nothing in the way. If I need to get in and right here and do work, there's a lot of extra space here. You don't have that cross member blocking you out. And that just seems like that's going to be really, really nice to have available. Let's see. Don Sakura, okay, Josh, a topic, my friend. Why don't you explain to everyone what really goes on or what really goes into just planning stages of a fish room? Yeah, we talked about this room for, man, it's been probably close to 2 years. We discussed building this room. In fact, in order to build this room, I had to build a shed on the other side of this wall because our house is a duplex and my wife's parents live next door, and the garage was supposed to be for their storage. They learned quickly that wasn't happening. Oh, and my wife is actually still here and laughing. Fantastic. Well, this might be the most she's ever listened to me. But actually, we built a shed on the other side of the wall behind the camera here that is 7 foot by 22 feet. That was going to be the original fish room. That was the plan. And then the guy across the street tore down a shed, and it was a little bit bigger than that. It was 22 by 14, so it was double the size. And I talked to him about renting the shed before he took it down. And my wife said, well, why don't you just take over the garage? You have all the tanks in there anyway. And that was all I needed to hear. Once she said that, it was over. So we went ahead and helped the neighbor take his shed down, use that lumber to build this other shed. And then everything that my in-laws have, we moved into that shed to open up this space. And I still have things I need to get rid of. I've got another 12 or 15 tanks outside that won't fit in here that I need to find a place for. So if anybody is in the St. Louis area and looking for 29-gallon fish tanks, I have several available. Let's see. Alice, you're like my biggest fan right now. I love this. 8 out of 10. We need 2 more likes. I do appreciate that. We're now 8 out of 9. We lost somebody. All right. Well, that's okay. First show, like I said, I'm just glad that somebody showed up. Zen Ginger is saying hi to my wife. She's saying hi to everyone. Fantastic. She's involved. Zen, why are you yelling? Probably because my wife didn't answer her. That would be my guess. Storm Riders says loves the fish room. Thank you, Storm Riders. This took a lot of planning, a lot of work. I did a lot of math before I actually decided to build this room this way. And it's interesting because literally this wall here, the garage door on the other side of this wall opens and stops about 2 inches from the wall. So I had to take the garage door opener down, and now the whole thing just kind of slides up into there. It took a lot of planning, and I wasn't able to do an automatic water change system like a lot of guys. I just didn't have the time or the money to put that together. So I did install a big tub over here. It's a 325-gallon water tote. That was a whole nother mess. We'll have to talk about that one day. Let's see. People saying hi to the wife. That's fantastic. She's getting attention too. I got excited. Let's see. Yes, wife is Tamar Alice. That is my wife. And she was nice enough to let me build this room. A lot of wives aren't that friendly. And she lets me spend time out here so that I can put this room together and have a nice place to do these videos, which is another thing we need to talk about, the videos. Right now, I don't have a set time. I'm going to try to do next week's around the same time, probably about 1:30. And the week after that, I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I have some family obligations that week on Monday. But if any of you know a good slot that's open that nobody is using that you think is going to really pick up a lot of attention, I'm definitely open to doing that. It seems like the evenings are pretty full right now. The more that I watch, the more I realize you guys just lead one show into the next. And I think that's fantastic myself. I love that you guys are always willing to pick up on the next person and throw them some audience members. In fact, if anybody ever decides to go live after me, let me know, and we'll talk about that as well. So yeah, I'm just kind of feeling it out right now. You know, it looks like we've had 9-10 people here first stream, which isn't terrible. I'm pretty happy about that. And we'll see what happens. We'll do next week, probably at the same time, 1:30 Central, and see where it goes from there. Let's see. Storm Rider says, just one more fish. What do you keep in your tanks? So right now, the one right here with the light on is a hospital tank. I had a 13-inch Pacu that was a rescue, and he tore the snot out of one of my parrot cichlids. It broke my heart because the parrot cichlids are one of my favorite rescues. So in the house, I have 150-gallon with nothing but rescue fish. They've all been surrendered because people didn't want them or couldn't take care of them anymore. And it's a strange mix of fish. It's things you wouldn't think go together, but it's worked out really well in there up until the Pacu lost his mind. And what I think happened is the 2 parrots, they laid eggs. The Pacu was getting to the point where he had to just circle the tank. He was too big. And I had it worked out. They built a brand new aquarium in St. Louis, nice big aquarium. He was supposed to go there. I've been talking to them since August about this. And they told me about a week and a half ago, no, we can't take him after all, which was really tough because I've been trying to move this fish since I got him. But we were able to actually move him to another store in St. Louis. It's actually Malawi Cichlids. If anybody is into African cichlids in the St. Louis area, go check them out. They're a pretty cool place. And they dropped him in a huge tank with a red-tailed catfish that was enormous. It was fantastic to see. And it was above the head. So like you walk in, I'm like, which tank are you guys going to put him in? They're like, that one. And I looked up and there's a red-tailed catfish. It's probably about 3 feet long staring at me. I was like, whoa, I didn't even know that was up there. So yeah, right now I got the hospital tank going. After the auction this weekend, I'm hoping to have killifish in a lot of these. I'm going to do some different cories possibly. In the back's going to be a lot of guppies. Some of the guppies will get moved into here too, and that's going to be grow outs for the fry. But mainly I'm going to focus on the guppies, the killies, and some goodeids or goodeids. I'm not sure exactly how that's pronounced either. But I showed earlier, if you want to watch the replay, that I have some right here next to me that are on the CARES list that we work with. Let's see, try to catch up with chat here. She endures. Yes, she does, Alice. She is, she's put up with a lot over 20 years. Do I breed fish from Fish Room Fever? Yes, the plan is to breed fish. I'm not going to be bringing fish in like some of the other places do, like Dan's Fish and Flip Aquatics. Nothing against those guys. I'm probably going to buy fish and shrimp from those places. But the whole plan is to not have to import them, to not have to work with all of the diseases and the parasites that come from the wild, but to actually just get them to breed in the tank and then have fish that are raised and used to this condition that I can ship out to anyone who's looking to get into the hobby. This is definitely difficult to keep up with chat. You guys aren't talking crazy amounts, but to actually see where we are is difficult. Alice says a lot of wives aren't that friendly. You are absolutely right. And I am one of the fortunate ones. I have a very friendly wife, and she's actually here listening and talking to you. She thinks you're funny, Alice. That's fantastic. St. Louis, Missouri, 44 Magi. Yeah, I am about 30 minutes outside of St. Louis, Missouri. And that's where the big auction is going to be this weekend. And I'm hoping to get a couple different killifish to start breeding. Storm Riders, do you keep African cichlids? I only keep one African cichlid, and it's the one that no one else has right now. It is a hybrid. I'm going to tell everybody up front, I do not hate the hybridization of fish if it's done properly. So these are running around 90-95% sulfur head, and they are gorgeous. The difference between these and the regular sulfur head is mine are blue all the way through the tail. It seems like it's been hard to find those with that characteristic. Usually the blue stops at the gill plate or just a little farther back. These I will feature on an upcoming video, and they are gorgeous. And it's really the only African cichlid I have. I do plan on getting into some apistogrammas, though. That's one of the things I'm looking for as well. Let's see. Okay, we're back to that. Do I keep Africans? Yes, St. Louis. Oh, my wife says I deserve it, that I'm the sweetest. Thank you, dear. And, okay, apparently my wife and Alice are going to be best friends because they are chatting it up. That's fantastic. Do you like the aquariums too? Do you have a favorite fish? I will tell you right now, my wife does have a favorite fish, and it's our parrot cichlids. When this one got a little bit of a beating, she was almost devastated by it, and I was too. They just had to go. Gnarly Fish Tanks. Hey, Josh, how's it going? It's going good, Gnarly. It's good to see you in here. I've seen you in a couple other chats, so it's always good to see someone that I recognize. I appreciate you being here. And there's my wife's response. I do, but I'm not as crazy as Josh. Our parrot cichlids are my favorite. They have so much personality. So the story on the parrot cichlids is I used to be a carpet cleaner. Up until last month, I cleaned carpets. And one of my clients had a 29-gallon bow front with two hand-size parrot cichlids, a feathered fin squeaker catfish, two plecos, and a convict, all in this real small bow front tank. I had mentioned to him that he might want to upgrade. He said he was moving. Long story short, I ended up with the fish. He asked if I would take them on and give them a better home. And I said, yeah, sure. What are their names? I'd like to keep their names. And he looks at me, he says, well, they're called Happy and Derp. And I asked him, I mean, obviously you could tell why they're called Happy and Derp, but at a family get together, some of the kids had named them because one looks like it's smiling. The other one looks like it's got the Elvis mouth. So that's their names, Happy and Derp. And Derp is the one that took a beating. Happy's still in the big tank inside, hiding under logs and upset because Derp is not there. But quick update, Derp is doing great. So hopefully Derp will be back in the tank very, very soon. Chevy Fish is trying to tell me how to say goody-eyed. Goody-eyed. Goody. Yeah, we're just going to go with goody-eyed. And that's where it's going to sit. Do a stream with the wife. Alice, that's probably not going to happen. In fact, I guarantee that's not going to happen. And that is not because of me. I would absolutely love to have my wife on, but she will never go in front of a camera. I can promise you that. Let's see. Zen Ginger. My husband is one of the good ones too. He even likes a few of the fish. See, now I've got my wife talking to my wife's going to be part of the fish family quicker than I got in. That's for sure. She is a sweet one. Gnarly fishing more. He is close to me, a few towns to the north of me. So where are you from, Gnarly? Are you near St. Louis? Is that what you're saying? Or you're closer to 44 Magi? Kind of curious. If you're not too far from me, we should get together and hang out sometime. Maybe I'll meet you up at the auction this weekend if you're going to be there. The Zen Ginger, does he have a younger brother? Alice is trying to find someone to date. No, Chevy, she's probably not going to do tandem chats. Everybody's going to try to get the wife in here, and I just don't see her doing it. In fact, there she is right there saying, nope, not going to happen. Try to keep up with this here. Parrot cichlids are beautiful. They are. So parrot cichlids are one of those hybrids that I don't necessarily agree with. Yeah, they can live an okay life. They can be healthy. They can do fine. But man, they just have a lot of trouble. They really do. Their mouths are so messed up. Most of them come out with actually the deformed lips, which gives them that derpy look. And it makes things hard on them. And when they do get sick, it's a little tougher for me to find a way to get them back to health. When I saw how beat up Derp was, I thought it was over. And the fact that she's been in here for about 2 weeks now, fins are growing back, the scars are healing. So she's doing great. A little bit of a Popeye issue now, which developed afterwards, I'm assuming because of stress and a bacterial infection now. But yeah, they're hard to figure out sometimes. The only reason I have these is because somebody had them and they needed a home, and they weren't in a home big enough, I didn't think. And they were awesome enough to let me give them a bigger home. So if the person that had them is watching, Matt, thank you. I love these fish. They are actually two of my favorite. They're definitely my wife's favorite. I actually have 3 ties for favorites that they're the tanks I stare at the most. Let's see. Parrot cichlid beautiful Zen. I don't have enough people here to go through chat the way that Dan does and just look for the ones that are posted to me. So I'm trying to see. Oh, Gnarly. Carlisle. Wait, Gnarly, are you I can't think of the name, but you're the guy that oh yeah, you just sent me a message. You're Gnarly. Hey Bryce, how's it going? Did not realize that was you. So awesome. We definitely need to get together. And if you decide to go to that auction next week, let me know. Maybe we'll just ride up there together. Depending on if the wife goes with me or not. Let's see. Carlisle. Yep. Carlisle, that's where you're from. Far away. I know this is boring because I'm just sitting here looking. It's cool to have spouses in the hobby together. It is very cool. And I will say I'm a little jealous of some of the ones who have the spouses who are in the hobby just as much as they are. But in this case, it's probably a good idea that she's not. If she was in the hobby as much as me, her parents would probably have to move out because then she would need her space for tanks. And I'm not giving up my space. Zen Ginger, do you have any apistogrammas? Not yet, but that is a part of the plan. I'm planning on doing 5 to 7 different species of apistos. Around here, they're really hard to find. There's a few breeders who will have them, but going to a store and looking for them, they're not easy. In fact, I was sad to hear that one of our local fish stores, and I say local fish store, it's about a 30-minute drive to the nearest fish store, and I just found out they're closing. So that's a bummer. Let's see. Got to go. We'll catch you later. Thank you, 44. I appreciate you coming out. And I'm actually probably going to end this show here in just a little bit. Being the first show, it was really just a chance to see who could show up and talk about the fish room, make sure the video and the sound was good. I'm definitely not used to talking for 45 minutes straight. So this is something new to me. Let's see. It looks like that is about the end of the chat right now. So if anybody does have a question that they want to throw up, I'm getting messages from Gnarly right now. Which fish store is going out of business? That's the one in Collinsville. They actually just sent me a message yesterday and asked if I was interested in buying it. I am not. Unfortunately, that's the second fish store that's been in there in the last couple of years. And it's the second time I've been asked to buy that location. So Even if I had the money to buy a fish store, I'm not buying a fish store, especially not 30 miles away from me. What is my favorite fish? Right now, my favorite fish is in this tank here and this tank here. And those two fish, or those two sets of fish, came from Florida. And they're Elastomas. Basically, you can look them up as, what are they called? Pygmy sunfish, blue pygmy sunfish. If you look those up, they are gorgeous. I've looked for those everywhere around here. Nobody seems to have them. One person put them up for sale in St. Louis. Come to find out, they were selling one male and two African cichlid fry as females. Didn't work out there. But again, the fish family is awesome. Somebody down in Florida heard that I was looking for them, sent me a message, said that they would send me some that they just caught. So these are wild caught. I was expecting 2 trios. He actually sent me 26 fish from 2 different areas. One was out of Wakasa, which is a lake down there, I believe. Or no, Wakasa is the creek. The other ones came out of a lake, Ocheesee Lake, or a pond. So those are fantastic. I've probably put more time into watching those 2 tanks in the past month than I need to. It's it's been pretty amazing. Let's see. Always have some tea with honey or something to keep your throat from getting sore from talking. Chevy, it's funny because I talked to the wife about this, and I actually went and got this cup so that it wouldn't be like all kinds of awkward when I take a drink, the water bottle squeezing and stuff. And before I came out here, she's like, try not to eat, try not to drink. So I'm not allowed to eat while I'm on the air, and I have this cup in case I get into desperate situations. Yes, pygmy sunfish are beautiful. I agree with that, Alice. I found out about those probably about a year ago, and I have looked everywhere for them. And then out of the blue, I get a message on Facebook. I have some available, and I'll send them to you. I was supposed to pay shipping. The guy was nice enough that he just said, just forget it. If you enjoy the fish that much, keep them. So I'm going to send him some stuff back, and we're just going to probably end up doing that. In fact, I need to get those shipped. He's looking for some microworms, so I'm going to send that down there to him. Sunfish are cool. The only problem with sunfish around here is I'm in Illinois, just across from St. Louis. The sunfish around here aren't small. You're talking, the bluegill can get up to 1.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds if you feed them really well. And the whole goal for my fish room, a lot of people go with their fish room and they stack them with 40-gallon breeders and 75s. I'm looking to do small fish, nano tank fish, pea puffers and apistos, guppies, things that you can keep in a very small area. Because a lot of times when someone new comes into the hobby, they don't jump into the hobby and say, let's get a green terror. They don't jump into the hobby and say, let's get an Oscar. They get into the hobby, they buy a little 5 or 10-gallon tank, and then they're looking for something that'll fit that. And so I'm really working to bring some quality fish to those tanks. Have them send me a few of them too. Well, Alice, if I get these to breed, I will have them available for you. That's for sure. Let's see. Zen Ginger, that's great when fish fam can hook each other up. I love nice people. Yeah, it really is. And actually, it really impressed me that since I started this, I've actually had people from 2 different parts of the country send me fish for the price of shipping. And I was just, this is amazing. Now, they're not fish that sell really well. I'm not going to make money off of these fish, but they were fish that really interested me, that I really wanted to have into my collection. And so I was going to make space for them one way or another. And that's how I got the Goodyeads. And then I got the pygmy sunfish, was both from fantastic people in the fish family. Let's see. Chevy is from Illinois too. I'm assuming maybe closer to Chicago. Is that where you're from, Chevy? Is up near Chicago? When someone says they're from Illinois, you have Southern Illinois and you have Chicago. Nobody's from Middle Illinois, which is where I considered myself from. But I found out if you get below Highway 80 up near Chicago, the rest of it's all considered Southern to them. Let's see. No sunnies around here, says Gnarly. Yes, they get too big. They definitely do. Gnarly lives over by one of the biggest lakes in Illinois. The sunfish in there are way too big to keep in a small tank, that's for sure. Alice says, then you have to get... Yeah, I'm not even going to try to say that, but I'm going to look it up. I definitely will look it up. I am interested where Chevy's from. Let's see. He hasn't said yet. Town that got hit by 2 tornadoes in 2 years. They must have got wiped out because I didn't hear about that one, Chevy. I know there's been a few tornadoes around recently, but off I-55. Well, I know where I-55 is, so if you say the name of the town, I used to drive semi-trucks. I probably drove right by it or right through it. I used to go to Chicago every week, like twice a week. Also, the importance of researching new fish. Yes, that is definitely something that we have done here. Thanks, Donnie, throwing me under the bus. This is where I yell, "Shut up, Donnie!" Oh, geez. So Donnie's talking about some crawfish that I ordered, and I did all the research I possibly could do. They are definitely illegal in Missouri, and I know that. But as far as I could find in Illinois, there are no laws that talk anything about the myrmocrabs or the marbled crayfish, which is the self-cloning crayfish that they found in Germany in 1990. This big mythical crayfish that you can get one and end up with 1 million. At the time, I went ahead and ordered them in, which apparently is illegal to have them shipped across state lines, and did not know that because I couldn't find any information on this. And I got 6 of them. They're having babies. I have hundreds of them. The goal was to get them to grow out and feed them to Fahaka puffer that I had. Unfortunately, no matter what I did for this Fahaka puffer, he gave into the parasites. We could not get him cleared. He lasted a few months, and those are all wild caught. They come with their own parasites and issues, and everything I tried, it just didn't seem like anything worked for him. So now I have loads of illegal crayfish that are apparently legal to keep. You can have them here if you're using them as a food source for one of your fish. I don't have a fish to feed them to anymore. So I have a crayfish I can't sell. Can't get rid of, can't give it away. I'm kind of stuck with it unless I find somebody here in Illinois with a large puffer that needs to feed it. So if anybody is fitting that mold, please let me know. They can have a bunch of them. They're illegal here. You have them. Yeah, I looked and I couldn't find anything that said that they were illegal to keep or sell out of Illinois. But apparently there's been some issues with them being shipped out of O'Hare Airport, and some people got into serious trouble there. GT Aquatics, sounds like you need to get another puffer. Yes, anybody, get a puffer in Illinois, and I have plenty of those for you. Otherwise, they're just going to end up in here, and it'll be something I just kind of geek out over and don't get to share with anyone unless they come visit. So, well, we've gone 47 minutes. I appreciate everybody coming. We're back to 10. Hey, we got 10 likes for 10 people. You can't beat that, right? We actually got likes for every person here. I know at one point we hit 11. That's okay. We won't tell. So I appreciate everyone coming out. It's probably going to be really awkward as I sign off because I don't know where the button is for that. Oh, end stream. It's hiding under my other computer. And I think next week we're going to try to do the same time, probably right at 1:30 on Monday. We'll do another chat. I think next week we're going to talk about some hybrids, especially in the cichlid community. And then we'll see if we can answer some questions. So until then, everybody have a great week, and we'll catch you next week. See ya.